All right, we're back together again. We're looking at the fourth chapter of Tobit. I think we're going to be rocking tonight. And actually, it's a really special part of the book of Tobit, fourth chapter. And we remember where we are in this. Tobit was a prisoner, or he was a captive in the Assyrian dispersion. He was carried away, and he is writing this book or living out this life from that place of captivity. And when he left, remember, he left all his money. He had to go, and it's been 20 years. He's been captive for 20 years. And he had a lot of money, and then he lost it all, and now he's impoverished. And he's got his son Tobias there. We looked at this as being as part of the Deuterocanonical books, or the Apocryphal books, or the intertestamental books, all the same thing, as a folk tale, as a story more than not, because there are some issues, there are some problems in the book that set it apart differently from other books of the Old Testament. We came across one of them already in the third chapter. We have Hagar, which was, he said, that his nephew, and his nephew, that figure of Hagar is actually a very well-known folk figure in a bunch of different stories from a bunch of different communities of people, not only the Jews, but other race or other tribes of people had the same folk hero. So that kind of begins to shatter the truth of the story, that it's actually Tobit, but rather a story that Tobit wrote or told, has a good moral to it. And one of the great examples of that moral for us is found, or your instruction for us is found in chapter 4. Absolutely beautiful. I think you'll get it as you go. So who would like to read?
I want to start reading, and I want to start this little blip before, so it pulls everything together. So when we go to 4, it's the big romantic la la la, but we have to have this last. So I'm starting, it might be verse 16 of 3.
Of 3. Oh.
This time, the prayer of each of them found favor before the glory of God, and Raphael was sent to bring remedy to them both. He was to take the white spots from the eyes of Tobit so that he might see God's light with his own eyes, and he was to give Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, as bride to Tobias, son of Tobit, and to rid her of Asmodeus, the worst of the demons. For it was to Tobias before all the other suitors that she belonged by right. Tobit was coming back from the courtyard into the house at the same moment as Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, was coming down from the upper room. So, the same day, Tobit remembered the silver he had left with Gabael at Rages in Media and thought, I have come to the point of praying for death. I should do well to call my son Tobias and tell him about the money before I die. He summoned his son Tobias and told him, the boy... I skipped a page. When I die, give me an honorable burial. Honor your mother and never abandon her all the days of your life. Do all that she wants and give her no reason for sorrow. Remember, my child, all the risks she ran for your sake when you were in her womb. And when she dies, bury her at my side in the same grave. My child, be faithful to the Lord all your days. Never entertain the will to sin or transgress his laws. Do good works all the days of your life. Never follow ways that are not right. For if you act in truthfulness, you will be successful in all your actions, as all men are if they practice what is right. Should I stop there?
Or keep going? That is... what verse was that?
It's all the same. It's all more...
Yeah.
It's big advice.
What verse was that?
That... was 6.
Okay. Yep. So we're beginning. I said it's really important because this is a wonderful instruction that comes along for Tobias from Tobit, and the sentiments that he's saying so far, and we're going to hear a lot more of these sentiments as he goes forward, are just beautiful and well suited and to be passed down to any son or daughter. Just wonderful words of instruction and really quite beautiful. Now, at the beginning, so we've got, he said, the same day Tobit remembered the money he had deposited in trust with Gabael. So that was in, remember, back in chapter 1, verse 14, where he said that he left that money with him to care for, and he made a deal with him that he would keep it. Must be a really, really good friend, because remember, we said it was a whole lot of money, $1 million. So he's very, very, very rich man. And now he is going to go back. It rages in Media. So let me show you real quick. We're going to come back to this again. So this is the Persian Empire. It's not the Assyrian Empire, but it's got a good idea of where we are. So this is Ecbatana right here in Media. That's the capital of Media, and it'll come up in a few minutes. And then if you look at the M here, you go straight up right about there.
Okay.
That's where a little town of Rages is. And in fact, Rages is still there. It's the oldest continual town in Iran. Right there. So there's Ecbatana, and then Rages is going to be right there. So we've talked about him going from Rages and Media. It's going to be right there, right above the M, just in the foothills on the other side of the Hyrcanian Sea. All right. Now it's important because you saw how far it was from Ecbatana, and that's going to come up in just a minute. All right. So now second verse. He thought to himself, now that I've asked for death, why should I not call my son Tobiah and let him know about his money before I die? So he's absolutely sure that God's going to answer his prayer. So remember chapter 3, he said, oh God,
I'm going to die. I better set the kid up with the will. That's
right. And he's absolutely positive. This is it. This is the swan song because he's prayed for it and it's just going to happen. Now that's maybe foolish of him, but it shows a real profound faith. And we see that Tobit already has displayed an amazing faith and dedication in the way that he's lived in captivity compared to 99.9% of everybody else, by keeping all the statutes and the commandments and all the rituals as best he could, where everybody else fell away and ridiculed him for what he does, including the burying of the bodies, the abandoned bodies.
Well, look, think of the tone that he's going to tell his son, and it's not like Job, who prayed for, and then he knows they're going back and doing, and so, okay, never mind, I'm going to do sacrifices. Tobit tells Tobias, and it's just a recap. This isn't exciting, new, or different for Tobias. Yeah, Dad. Okay, Dad. Sure, Dad. It's, this is the family way we do things. And it's kind of cool.
Doesn't have any problem reiterating. I like that in chapter or verse 4, he assures that he takes care of his mom.
Yeah.
It reminds him of what she's gone through to make him to bring him into this world and to care for him. So just beautiful. All right. Who's reading again?
Start 7.
I will.
Start at 7 and go through
7. Where
7 is this paragraph here.
Okay. Set aside part of your goods for almsgiving. Never turn your face from any poor man, and God will never turn his from you. Measure your alms by what you have, and if you have much, give more. If you have little, give less, but do not be mean in giving alms. By doing so, you will lay up for yourself a great treasure for the day of necessity. For almsgiving delivers from death and saves men from passing down to darkness. Alms is a most effective offering for all those who give it in the presence of the Most High. My child, avoid all loose conduct. Choose a wife of your father's stock. Do not take a foreign wife outside of your father's tribe, because we are the sons of the prophets. Remember, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our ancestors from the beginning. All of them took wives from their own kindred, and they were blessed in their children, and their race will inherit the earth. You too, my child, must prefer your own brothers. Never presume to despise your brothers. The sons and daughters of your people, choose your wife from among them. For pride brings ruin and much worry. Idleness causes need and poverty. For the mother of famine is idleness. Shall I keep going?
Yep.
Do not keep back until the next day the wages of those who work for you. Pay them at once. If you serve God, you will be rewarded. Be careful, my child, in all that you do, well disciplined in all your behavior. Do to no one what you would not want done to you. Do not drink wine to the point of drunkenness. Do not let excess be your traveling companion. Give your bread to those who are hungry and your clothes to those who are naked. Whatever you own in plenty, devote a proportion to almsgiving. And when you give alms, do not do it grudgingly. Be generous with bread and wine on the graves of virtuous men, but not the sinner. Ask advice of every wise person. Never scorn any profitable advice. Bless the Lord God in everything. Beg him to guide your ways and bring your paths and purposes to their end. For wisdom is not given to every nation. The Lord himself gives all good things. At his will he lifts up or he casts down to the depths of the dwelling of the dead. So now, my child, remember these precepts and never let them fade from your heart. Now, my child, I must tell you, I have left 10 talents of silver with Gabael, son of Gabrias, at Rages in Media. Do not be afraid, my child, if we have grown poor. You have great wealth if you fear God, if you shun every kind of sin, and if you do what is pleasing to the Lord your God.
Wait, he's living on a shoestring and he's got $1 bazillion over there?
Yep. Pretty good. It's a nice, good foreshadowing for the boy. So we've got we covered the entire chapter. I knew we'd get through it. There you go. We'll just jump back a little bit and go back to 7. Give alms, my translation. Give alms for your possessions. Do not turn your face away from the poor, so that God's face will be turned away from you. This is a central theme of Tobit. It goes right on through. It starts from the very beginning. It has to do with not only his almsgiving, but the care of the dead, which is going to it was also a central part of the very beginning of the book. And he really lays heavy on it. As you can see, all the instruction through for Tobias or any child, he really puts a huge emphasis on almsgiving. Verse 10, for almsgiving delivers from death and keeps one from entering into Hades or darkness. So he's saying we don't want to take it in isolation, but it really is a huge part of your faith to give alms. So much so that if you're negligent in other areas, alms can tip the scale for you and make it okay. He keeps going on and on about how God is very favorable to almsgiving. Almsgiving is a worthy offering in the sight of the Most High for those who practice it. So he goes on, do not keep overnight wages. So we see a lot of these themes that are familiar to us, both in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, about paying Jesus talking about paying the worker for what they are due, and doing it in a very proactive way. Be on your guard, son, everything you do, be wise in all what you say, and discipline yourself in all your conduct. So keeping a good measure of yourself. Do unto others is the way that Carol Lee's translation read that out. So we know that the golden rule. My translation says, do to no one what you yourself hate, in verse 15. And again, 16, we're back to alms again. After you give alms to everybody, if you have anything left, give more alms. Seek counsel. I loved 18. Seek counsel from all the wise people. So in other words, don't think you're arrogant. Don't be arrogant. Don't think you're all that. If you've got people around you who know things or they want to offer up some advice, then don't shun that. Take that. And 19, where he starts to come to a close. At all times, bless the Lord your God and ask him to make all your paths straight in endeavors and plans that you may prosper. And then reminds them that God is the God of the Hebrew, of the nation of Israel, and that he shouldn't forget that. We should take advantage of that. That's God's promise. That's God's presence. So go ahead and make the best of it. Turn to God, and God will bless you. Keep mind of these commandments. Now there is one one place in this is the very end where there is a disagreement in the punctuation here. So if you look at the last verse, mine reads, "Do not fear, son, that we have lived in poverty, period. You will have great wealth, comma, if you fear God, comma, avoid all sin, comma, and do what is good before the Lord your God, period." So the disagreement is the reading of that based on the commas. So let me tell you the other way. Steve read it the one way already. The second way, the conflict is, here you go, ready? You will have great wealth. If you fear God, avoid all sin and do what is good before the Lord your God. Right? So they're saying, one, you'll have great wealth if you fear God. The other way is saying, you will have great wealth if you fear God, avoid all sin, and do what is good before the Lord your God. So it's a little subtly different, but it's the same.
Well, one is sort of the gospel of prosperity, and the other is
right.
And the other is not.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, you know, that back there they said, you know, what is it? Idleness causes poverty, and this is the same kind of thing. Fear God, you'll be okay.
Right.
You know, if you fear, God is God at all. Fear God, you'll be fine.
Right. Right.
Well, and also wealth comes in many different forms. So it might just be it might not be monetary. It could be health. It could be, you know, the riches that come with blessings that, you know, come with even after you're no longer living on this earth. So,
well, and Tobit has been rescued by his relations with others already.
Well, that's sort of a good way to look at it, Sue. With the thing of in Matthew about if you have your treasure,
right.
Yeah.
If you have your treasure here, you've already gotten your reward. If your treasure is elsewhere, then
yeah,
you'll get your reward later.
Yep. And then of course, the others, the people who are writing are saying that in this place that Tobit is referring back to the wealth that Tobias is about to receive. So he's saying to him, do not fear that we have lived in poverty. You will have great wealth.
Right, it's over there.
Period. If you fear God, new sentence. So let's think of it this way. Do not fear, son, that we have lived in poverty, comma, you will have great wealth, period. If you fear God, avoid all sin and do what, if you fear God, avoid all sin and do what is good before the Lord your God, period. So the argument is that do not fear, son, we have lived in poverty, comma, you will have great wealth is one sentence. And he's talking about the wealth, the money he's about to receive, and then says, if you fear God, avoid all sin and do what is pleasing before the Lord your God. So he's saying the fear of God is what will preserve you from that point on. One of those little testy places that can go either way, but look, it sparks some great conversation, and that's what it's all about, right? All right, we're into chapter 5. Who's gonna kick off 5 for us tonight?
Now,
Sue, are you capable of reading? Are you on your little phone?
Sue, do you have Gail, do you have an Apocrypha?
I don't have an Apocrypha. I don't have anything.
All right, I'll read.
Okay.
How far am I reading?
Oh, let's see. You're very good.
You get bored.
Let's see about it. Okay, read to 9 through 9.
Okay.
Yeah, 9.
Then Tobiah replied to his father Tobit, everything that you have commanded me, father, I shall do. But how will I be able to get that money from him, since he does not know me and I do not know him? What sign can I give him so that he will recognize and trust me and give me the money? I do not even know the roads to Media in order to go there. Tobit answered his son Tobiah, he gave me his bond, and I gave him mine. I divided his into 2 parts, and each of us took 1 part. I put 1 part with the money. It is 20 years since I deposited that money. So, son, find yourself a trustworthy person who will make the journey with you, and we will give him wages when you return. But bring back that money from Gabael while I'm still alive." Tobiah went out to look for someone who would travel with him to Media, someone who knew the way. He went out and found the angel Raphael standing before him, though he did not know that this was an angel of God. Tobiah said to him, "Where do you come from, young man?" He replied, "I am an Israelite, one of your kindred. I have come here to work." Tobiah said to him, "Do you know the way to Media?" "Yes," he replied. "I have been there many times. I know the place well and am acquainted with all the routes. I have often traveled to Media. I used to stay with our kinsman Gabael, who lives at Rages in Media. It is a good 2 days' journey from Ecbatana to Rages. For Rages is situated in the mountains, but Ecbatana is in the middle of the plain." Tobias said to him, "Wait for me, young man, till I go in and tell my father, for I need you to make the journey with me. I will pay you your wages." He replied, "Very well, I will wait, but do not be long." Tobiah went in and informed his father Tobit, "I have found someone of our own Israelite kindred who will go with me." Tobit said, "Call the man in, so that I may find out from what family and tribe he comes, and whether he is trustworthy enough to travel with you, son."
All right. Very well done on your little tiny phone. And I could see you like scrolling up like this, reading the little phone. Very well done. So
This brings the interesting thing. Tobit is going to find out his family tree. Tobias doesn't know. The guy says, "Yeah, I'm an Israelite." Well, Tobit goes, "I wonder what Israelite you are," and he's going to find out his lineage, his tribe, because that's how you prove your Jewishness, your Israel is whatever. It's just interesting that genealogy, every Jew knows his thing, theoretically.
Yep. Well, remember back when we used to say Jesus, son of, or Ben, Ben means son of. So we've got Judah ben Hur, you're known by your father, and that's the lineage that's passed down to you and that you can take back. Remember how Matthew begins the gospel. The gospel of Matthew starts right off from verse 1 saying this is the lineage of Jesus the Christ. So very, very important. If we go back to this little thing quickly in verse 3, Tobit answered his son Tobiah, "He gave me his bond and I gave him mine." So there are all sorts of different bonds. It's actually a document of sorts and then has come in and out of history as documents. This is a smacking of a type of document that was used in Greece and then went on, disappeared, and came back into favor in the Middle Ages. And this is where you would write down on a sheet of paper what you're doing. So I say, I gave you $1,000 and you're going to hold on to me until I get back to you. And this person says, and I am agreeing that I've got the $1,000 and I'm going to hang on to it till you get back to me, and I'm not going to send, nothing's going to happen. And then you sign down here and he signs down here. And then you tear the page in half. And I take the page with his phone, with his signature on it, and he takes the page with mine. So that when I come back, or if I send my son Tobias back, then he's going to carry that sheet and you're going to put the two together and it's going to have his name on my sheet and my father's name on the other sheet, the bond. So it goes back together, creates that bond, recreates the bond, and there you go. So you don't need to be known by the man because you've got the other page, the other half of the bond paper. So that could be what he's talking about. It's one method that was used and has been used on and off through time. We could use it today. You could use it today. It's a great little method if you're being analog in your way of doing things to get a promise from somebody that could be cashed by someone else. Okay, so we've got, I think it's really, really fun now, the bottom of verse 3, where it said, "So son, find yourself a trustworthy person who will make the journey with you, and we will give him wages when you return. Bring back that money from Gabriel while I'm still alive." So Tobit seems to have a secret timeline of death. he's already said earlier in 4 that he's going to die. That's for sure, because he prayed to God and God's faithful and God's going to kill him. But he knows that his son's going to be able to go get the money in return before he dies, because it seems like he knows the secret timeline of death. So God's not going to cash in on his prayer until Tobias gets back. I thought that's very nice of God to do that for him. We already looked at rages, but this is where the difficulty is. Let me show you again, real quick. All right, see the map? So here's Ecbatana right there, and I said rages is right up here above Midia. So you see that? All right, the problem is that Tobit, Raphael has said, okay, let's go. I will take you there, because Rages is 2 days walk from Ecbatana, right? Well, I'm sorry, but the angel is a little bit silly on this account. Rages was 180 miles from Ecbatana. It would take a week at least to get there. So an angel goofed in his estimation of a 2-day walk, and Rages hasn't moved from the time that it was there. I said the oldest continual city.
Tobit has been there. Tobit knows how far it is.
Yeah, not 40 miles. 180 miles, and it's been that way since the beginning. So another place where we have the angel, and it's such an egregious error, it begins to make you wonder if that angel really knew where he was going or what he was saying. All right, so now we've got an introduction between this angel on the road, or angel that's come to help, and Tobias, and now it's going on to Tobit. All right, so who wants to keep reading?
Oh, I will.
Okay.
The angel came into the house. Tobit greeted him, and the other answered, wishing him happiness. Tobit replied, "Can I ever be happy again? I'm a blind man. I no longer see the light of heaven. I'm sunk in darkness like the dead who see the light no more. I am a man buried alive. I hear men speak but cannot see them." The angel said, "Take comfort. Before long, God will heal you." "Take comfort," Tobit said. "My son Tobias wishes to go to Media. Will you go join him as his guide? Brother, I will pay you." He replied, "I'm willing to go with him. I know all the ways. I have often been to Media. I have crossed all its plains and mountains, and I know all the roads." Tobit said, "Brother, what family and what tribe do you belong to? Will you tell me, brother?" What does my tribe matter to you?" the angel said. Tobit said, "I want to be quite sure whose son you are and what your name is." The angel said, "I am Azariah, son of the great Ananias, one of your kinsmen." "Welcome and greetings, brother. Do not be offended at my wanting to know the name of your family. I find you are my kinsmen of a good and honorable line. I know Ananias and Jathan, the 2 sons of the great Shemaiah. They used to go to Jerusalem with me. We have worshiped together there, and they have never strayed from the right path. Your brothers are worthy men. You come of good stock. Welcome." Should I keep going?
Yeah, well, no, let's deal with that, because we can get that out of the way. So here we go. We've got another little problem in here. Okay.
The angel told a lie.
Angel told a lie, yes. And I have read several events about this from our Roman Catholic brethren, who are struggling very, very hard to clean this book up, to make it as prophetic as other books of the Old Testament, and how they are smoothing over. I really have this image in my head of this beautiful cake, where you take the knife and you swirl it and it makes these little waves, and they're coming in here with a spatula, and they're just smoothing it over. Yeah, angel told a lie. He said, "I am Azariah, the son of Hananiah, one of your own kindred." Now the smoothing of it says that, of course, this is not a lie, it's a code name. This is true. one of the theologians said it's actually an angel code name. And the reason why is because Azariah means God has helped. And Hananiah means God has shown mercy. So he's really picking out two names that simply mean what he is and who God is. But there's a problem in this because Tobit actually has people in his line by these names and immediately identifies them with the people that Raphael is referring to. So it is true that Azariah and Hananiah both are very common names, and they're around a lot in the Old Testament and around a lot at that time. And so maybe it's just a coincidence that Raphael picked out two names that are also exact kindred of.
He's an angel.
He's an angel.
He's smart.
So
He knows.
Yeah. So this is the difficulty right here. As Susan's proclaimed it loud and clear, the angel has lied. This is quite possible, if it's just a folk story, that it would make it.
So is he a good angel or a bad angel?
He's a good angel. He's a good angel. He's doing good stuff.
Yeah, he's a good angel.
He's going to do better stuff. It's just that in this case, he had to tell a lie so he could get the blessing of the Father. You know, there you go. Shemaliah is the name of they're the two sons of the great Shemaliah, right? Okay, so Shemaliah is also a name that comes up in the Old Testament 25 times in different verses. Shemaliah comes up, but that is different Shemaliahs that of the Old Testament. And this one, this Shemaliah with this lineage is the only place in the Old Testament where these three names are put together. So we don't find it. You will find, if you look in your Bibles, you will find Shemaliah in other places, but it's not the same one. Okay. He said, I will add in my translation, it says, verse 15, then he added, for each day I will give you a drachma as wages as well, expenses for you and my sons to go with my son. Did we get there already? Did we read 15?
I haven't gotten there already.
Okay,
That's the next verse.
So just go, let's read 15 to the end. Who wants to read that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, where did that stop?
Where did you stop? Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
He went on. I engage you at a drachma a day with your expenses, like my own son. Complete the journey with my son, and I will go beyond the agreed wage. And the angel replied, I will complete the journey with him. Do not be afraid. On the journey outward, all will be well. On the journey back, all will be well. The road is safe. And Tobit said, blessings on you, brother. Then he turned to his son. My child, he said, prepare what you need for the journey and set off with your brother. May God in heaven protect you abroad and bring you both back to me safe and sound. May his angel go with you and protect you, my child. Tobias left the house to set out and kissed his father and mother. Tobit said, a happy journey. His mother burst into tears and said to Tobit, why must you send my child away? Is he not the staff of our hands with his errands to and fro for us? Surely money is not the only thing that matters. Surely it is not as precious as our child. The way of life God has already given us was good enough. He said, do not think such thoughts. Going away and coming back, all will be well with our child. On the day of his homecoming, you will see for yourself how all is still well with him. Do not think such thoughts. Do not worry on their account, my sister. A good angel will go with him. He will have a good journey and come back with us well and happy. And she dried her tears.
There you go.
Now, you sort of wonder, reading that, does Tobit know that that this guy is an angel?
Oh no. No. He thinks he's just a kinsman. Azrael is his name.
But he's sort of implying that he's an angel in the.
No, that's the joke. That's the kind of funny joke at the end where he says, may God of the heavens protect you on the way and bring you back safe. May his angel accompany you in safety. He's actually praying that there's an angel that watches over the two of them as they go.
Your guardian angel will be with you.
Right.
Oh, okay, got it.
Not realizing that the angel's right there in front of him.
Now, one thing that really really strikes me is that this guy shows up, and the angel shows up and says he's a kinsman, or says he's he is part of his tribe and who he is and all that kind of stuff. And Tobit just takes that as face value.
Yeah.
And this guy could be anybody.
Well, it could be that in this time that really there's no reason for anybody to deceive. I mean, nobody knew that they were planning to go or that he's got money, so there would be no plan to deceive him. And you'd have to find out who his kindred was, that you would call yourself by name, and there'd have to be a reason. I mean, there's really no reason for anybody to do this. As far as anybody's concerned, Tobit has nothing. He's just dirt poor. So I think that he's just saying it. If a person came up and said this, there'd be no reason to say it unless it was really true.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be very, very different story if I was traveling with lots of money and I had all this stuff, and this guy just came up and said, well, I'll travel along and protect you on the way. I think that would be right. I don't think they would trust him, but yeah. Let's see. So in verse 15, where I jumped ahead, he says, for each day I'll give you a drachma as wages, as well expenses for you and my son. So a drachma is really an accounting of wage. It's not a single, like a quarter. Drachma could be $1, it could be $100. It's if I hired a craftsman, I said I'll give you a day's wage. A drachma is a day's wage, and maybe it's $100. If I was hiring somebody to dig a ditch, it'd be like $5. I'd say I give you a drachma for the day. That's the going wage for your position. So we don't know what the going wage is for,
An accompanist?
Yes, all the way up to wages.
And he said if he comes back like he says he will, that he'll go beyond that.
Yeah, which is nice. I mean, and this guy's an in-law anyway, so he would do it just because it's an honorable thing to do to help Tobit and Tobias, and it's a nice day trip. And man, this guy obviously he was some kind of merchant, because he's gone back and forth to Rages so much. He knows every path and every way, and he is sure as Tobit that it's safe there and it's safe back. No bandits.
No worries.
Yeah, it's all good. And then that very cute little thing that Steve pointed out, where he prays for an angel to accompany them and protect them. It's very sweet. And that's it. Off they go. Tobiah left, set out the journey, and he kissed his father and mother. And this nice reassurance to the mom from Tobit, saying, "Don't worry, honey. It's going to be okay." And she dries her tears and goes about her business. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. And we're done with 5. How about we just jump right into 6 and go just a little ways? We have about 15 minutes left.
Good.
6 is fun. So let's see. 6 is
Sue, start this one.
Yeah, it's about maybe half as long again, a third as long again as 5. We'll see how far we can get. Let's see. Let's read fun parts. Let's go. Let's start off by going to 9 through 9. So can you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay, so then she stopped weeping is verse 1 of chapter
6,
right?
Okay.
When the young man left home, accompanied by the angel, the dog followed Tobiah out and went along with them. Both journeyed along, and when the first night came, they camped beside the Tigris River. When the young man went down to wash his feet in the Tigris River, a large fish leaped out of the water and tried to swallow his foot. He shouted in alarm. But the angel said to the young man, "Grab the fish and hold on to it." He seized the fish and hauled it up on dry land. Then the angel told him, "Slit the fish open and take out its gall, heart, and liver, and keep them with you, but throw away the other entrails. Its gall, heart, and liver are useful for medicine." After Tobiah had slit the fish open, he put aside the gall, heart, and liver. Then he roasted and ate part of the fish. The rest he salted and kept for the journey. Afterward, the two of them traveled on together until they drew near to Media. I forgot which verse you said to stop.
Go through 9.
Okay. Then the young man asked the angel this question, Brother Azariah, what medicine is in the fish's heart, liver, and gall? He answered, As for the fish's heart and liver, if you burn them to make smoke in the presence of a man or woman who is afflicted by a demon or evil spirit, any affliction will flee and never return. As for the gall, if you apply it to the eyes of one who has white scales blowing right into them, sight will be restored.
Both problems right there. The girl and the father.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
There you go.
I see. Oh, there's the dog.
There's the dog.
This is another one of those things that's like, why did they put in that detail?
And he's carrying a fish there. You can just barely see the fish. If it's this one, let's see.
Yeah, the other one, I couldn't figure out what was going on. And obviously his foot is in the fish's mouth.
There you go. So this is the wood print. So you got this giant fish right here with teeth. And here's a little dog, little Fido right there. And of course he can't see Raphael's wings, but the implication is. Now you see the difference between this woodcut and the other one. The other one, the artist was maybe not as good an artist, and he really drew Tobiah as a little boy almost. And here you see he's a young man along with Raphael, who is a young man as well. So here's a little trivia for you guys. Ready? This is the only dog in the entire Bible, right there. That's why.
Yeah, because most of the time dogs are like suspicious, dirty, nasty, but
a dog is a curse to the Jews.
yeah, so they brought along a dog.
He's got his own dog.
Went along or something.
It went with him, and this one's got a cute little dog right there.
Yeah.
And then you got this giant daggone fish with, holy smokes! I think I'd run away from that thing. I'm impressed that Tobiah could even get him out of the water. But that being said, here you have this little exchange going on about the gall, the liver, and the heart. And it's interesting because at least here you say, verse 9, as for the gall, if you apply it to the eyes of one who has white scales, blowing right into them, sight will be restored. So you know what the gall is, right? It's gallbladder. And the gallbladder produces bile. So this isn't the most a glamorous organ to be smearing its contents on someone's eye. You're smearing fish
caustic and doesn't seem like that would be the way to go here, but
no, not a good one. And so we know what's going to happen there, because what's wrong with Tobias? He's blind. And right. Here we have this other one where it says, if you burn the liver and the heart to make smoke in the presence of a man or woman that is afflicted by a demon. And what's wrong with?
There's the girl. It's coming.
It's coming. So this is also a place where there's a little bit of conjecture about an angel who is really promoting some kind of weird magic. He's not telling Tobias to turn toward God and say prayers and be faithful. He's done what they used to do when they, in the old time where they hung the chicken entrails all over the place, and you'd wear the foot around your neck and do this other thing and fix stuff. So there's a little bit of saying that's kind of weird. We don't have any angels in scripture anywhere else that are vivisecting animals and taking their bits and parts and stuff like that.
I mean, there was that thing where one of the guys, Elijah or Elisha, or was it Abraham, supposed to split the things and keep
yeah, but that was
the altars off, and
that was a symbol of God's promise of the covenant, saying that but it's not. So you've got the killing of animals to show how important this is and how final it is. And where here you've got actually using parts to do miraculous healings and stuff like that. I've often, one of the people said, well, you'd think that Tobias would go out and kill a whole bunch of fish and can carry around their bits and parts in a bag, just in case he ran into anybody in the city who was blind. He just smear the gall on the person's face. I mean, it worked for everybody from that point on. But.
Well, this isn't an ordinary, we're eating it for lunch fish. This is a weird fish to start with. It's not like this is what, go out and find a brook trout. This is, I think this is a weird, you've never seen one of these. No, that's the right one. That's the one that does the thing.
Trying to eat Tobias's foot. Big teeth. Arr, arr.
Well, it's a big fish.
Big. All right, look, we still have some time. How about, why don't we read 10 through... let's see. We go to. Gosh, we're so close. Let's just go to 15, 10 to 15, through 15. Who wants to do that?
Where are you?
Right here. They entered.
They entered Medea and had nearly reached Ecbatana when Raphael said to the boy, "Brother Tobias." "Yes," he answered. The angel went on, "Tonight we shall be staying with Raguel, who is a kinsman of yours. He has a daughter called Sarah, but apart from Sarah, he has no other son or daughter. Now you are next of kin. She belongs to you before anyone else, and you may claim her father's inheritance. She is a thoughtful, courageous, courageous, and very lovely girl, and her father loves her dearly. You have the right to marry her. Listen, brother, this very evening I will speak to the girl to her father and arrange for her to be betrothed to you. And when we come back from Rages, we can celebrate the marriage. I assure you, Raguel has no right whatever to refuse you or to betroth her to anyone else. That would be asking for death as prescribed in the book of Moses. Once he was aware that kinship gives you the preeminent right to marry his daughter. So listen, brother, this very evening we will speak about the girl and ask for her hand in marriage. When we come back from Rages, we will fetch her and take her to home with us." Tobias answered Raphael, "Brother Azarias, I have been told that she has already been given in marriage 7 times.
He does know who she is.
And that each time her bridegroom has died in the bridal room, he died the same night as he entered her room. And I have heard people say it was a demon that killed them. And this makes me a little afraid."
He's no dummy.
He does no harm to her, of course, because he loves her. But as soon as a man tries to approach her, he kills him. I am my father's only son, and I have no wish to die. I shrink from causing my father and mother a grief that would bring them to the grave, as they have no other son to bury them.
All right, so I think we're almost close to finishing up for the night, but this is pretty straightforward, except for you remember that it's going to take 2 weeks to get to Rages and 2 weeks to get back, so it's 4 weeks away. But that being said, because they said it's 4 days, this thing about the book of Moses, that's Numbers 36, 6 through 8, is a prescription that says if you have a daughter and there are no sons, then they want to keep the property in the family. So
that way the inheritance of the land will be clear and easy.
Yes. It stays in the family. If you are the first dibs on marriage goes to the closest relative. Now, so we already have a problem here because her family also has broken the law of Moses 7 times already.
Well, doesn't that also have some genetic problems with?
No, that's all cleaned up, man. No genetic problems back then.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're a big enough group.
Yeah.
Remember the 12 tribes when they left Egypt, there were something like 150,000 people.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like which of the 3.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Second, first cousin, third time removed, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's good that he's there because he's saving everybody in Sarah's family from going to hell because they violated the law of Moses 7 times over already. Never called him on the phone and said, "Hey, can you come up here and marry my daughter because it's rightly all yours." He should have been the first one dead, actually, is what should have been. Right. All right, so he's being pretty smart. He knows who she is. Everybody knows who Sarah is. Everybody.
Everybody knows the curse means he's dead.
Right. And he's pretty quick. He's pretty smart. I'm not going to marry this girl because I'll cause my mom and dad some terrible heartache. Okay, let's finish 16 to the end.
Okay, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
In my notes too, it's another problem is that the Tigris River was actually west of Nineveh,
Yep.
so they could not have come to this river on their way to Medea.
Thank you. Yes, I was going to show that on a map. You're exactly
Oh.
Well,
right.
and they got there, what, it's supposed to be 80 miles and they got there like in an afternoon.
It was the fastest way the angels walk.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's, it's like that blink your eye light thing, with Einstein, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, 16 to the end. Thank you, Sue.
Okay. Are you going to read?
I don't know. Whose turn is it?
It's yours.
Oh, okay. Then I will. Are you lying to me? Just like an angel.
I lost track.
The angel said, "Are you going to forget your father's advice? After all, he urged you to choose a wife from your father's family. Listen then, brother, do not worry about the demon. Take her this very evening. I promise she will be given you as your wife. Then once you're in the bridal room, take the heart and liver of the fish and lay a little of it on the burning incense. The reek will rise, the demon will smell it and flee, and there's no danger that he will ever be found near the girl again. Then, before you sleep together, first stand up, both of you, and pray. Ask the Lord of heaven to grant you grace and protection. Do not be afraid. She was destined for you from the beginning, and it is you who will save her. She will follow you, and I pledge my word, she will give you children who will be like brothers to you. Do not hesitate." And when Tobias heard Raphael say this, when he understood that Sarah was his sister, a kinswoman of his father's family, he fell so deeply in love with her that he could no longer call his heart his own. Has he even seen her yet? He's just in love with the concept?
He's just in love with the concept. I mean, this is it. This is the woman.
I mean, I've read some trashy romances that aren't as cool as this.
So we can again see how we're making some weird leaps. So we're keeping this within the context of the followers of Yahweh, right? So we got some weird leaps going on here at the word of Azrael or Raphael, as we say. He's telling him, of course, to take the fish bits and put them on the embers. And as soon as the demon smells it, he will flee. This is a one weak little cheesy demon. If it only takes some fish guts burned on the embers for him to go away, he's already stayed there and killed 7 men. But the fish guts are going to do it, and he's never going to come back because who knows when they're ever going to light a fish gut again. It's going to be too horrible for him. So that's it.
And after the demon goes, they're supposed to pray right away.
Yes, pray for
God will keep him away.
Yes, that's true. So, but this can't be done without the fish guts. So you can't do it. No prayer would work. Fish guts only, and then the prayer will follow up. So you will save her. Assume that you have children with her, and you'll be like brothers to you. So blah blah blah. All right. Well, we've got it, and we're on the.
We're so close. Will he live or will he die? Next week.
Yes. This is a cliffhanger. We're ending with a cliffhanger. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, he could get there and the guts could be a complete bust, in which case big trouble going on. So it's
okay, but I'm having a problem with you will have children by her and they will be like brothers for you.
long years of life too. It's also the word here for sister, which is used also for his mother. And in the translation, and brothers is just like kinsperson.
Well, I know that like sister was used as kinsperson, but the father brother thing is kind of weird.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
It does sound weird. They probably should have used a different. They could have kept using the words for kinsmen instead of brothers and sisters in the translations.
Or you know what? I mean, it seems like I would say you will have a family.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you'll have a family. It won't be just you. It won't be just her. You will have a family.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Good. Yeehaw. Well done, troop. Outstanding.
Are there, okay, if we were to read any of the legit books, are there any other books that we could read as goofy as this. Well, I mean, I'm thinking, there's that one where the guy, he's a general or something, is facing the battle, and it's, if I live, the first thing I see when I get home, I'll kill. So the first thing he sees, of course, is his darling daughter, whom he kills. And also,
what prompted him to say the first thing I see when I get home, I'll kill?
yeah, I mean, why didn't he qualify that?
But doesn't that seem a little bit weird?
Well, I think it wasn't that he would kill it. He was offering it to the Lord. I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was offering
Right,
it.
right.
make
So,
a
in order
make
to
a
do that, he had to-
sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, all the time when the other angels come, the first thing they say is, don't be afraid, it'll be okay. I think about like the judges. Samson is like, can you come back and talk to my mother?
Yeah.
Can you come back and talk to my husband? I'm not sure I got that. Okay. Dumb as dirt. God can use anybody. Which one was it? He asked for Gideon, I think it was. He brought a meal and the angel zapped it. And he not only burned up the food, but he burned up the rock it was sitting on.
Yeah, a little careless with the power there.
And Gideon says, maybe I should have you mess with a fleece.
Yes.
It's like, really, when he liquefied the rock, I'd be done. That would be it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't need to have some other sign. You just toasted a rock. So it's just so funny, the things that angels do.
Yes.
And they always say, don't be afraid. And some of the people are still afraid. And then, there's the ones that recover way too much.
Well, we got this one. Raphael's is a one of a kind so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is going a little far beyond the fleece and the lunch, but.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got through 6, so we'll be on to 7 for next week. Yeehaw. And with the cliffhanger too. So this is a cliffhanger. I'll have to show my true form.
I love that.
Wave you all off for the night and have a really, really
even though you're sending your avatar, the demon would know and you would be toast.
I don't know. I've got some sticks right over there. I gotta get to cutting them quickly before it gotta light the fire. Make sure we're going okay. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. Be well, sleep well. God bless you all. Take good care. See you on Sunday.
Good night.
Night.